Success is not determined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you get up. Life has a way of testing us. It pushes us to our limits and throws obstacles in our path, often when we least expect it. Sometimes it feels like everything is working against us, and we're just about to break. But let me tell you something important. Those moments when you feel like you can't go on, that's exactly when you need to dig deeper. Getting up isn't always easy. It can feel impossible when you're overwhelmed, tired, or discouraged. But it's in those moments that you find out who you really are. Those are the moments that define your strength, your resilience, and your ability to push through anything life throws your way. The real victory isn't just in reaching the finish line. It's in having the courage to stand up, to fight for your dreams, even when you're tired or uncertain. Today, I'm here to talk about why getting up and keeping fighting is the most important thing you can do for yourself. It doesn't matter where you're starting from or how many times you've fallen. What matters is that you're willing to keep moving forward. We'll talk about the power of taking one step at a time, finding your inner strength, and the mindset shifts that can turn setbacks into stepping stones. If you're feeling stuck, frustrated, or like you're at your limit, you're not alone. In fact, you're exactly where you need to be. Now is the time to learn how to turn this struggle into your greatest opportunity for growth. This is your chance to keep fighting, to find out just how strong you really are. Number one, start where you are. You might be feeling stuck right now. Maybe you're looking around at your life and thinking, I'm nowhere near where I thought I'd be by now, or I don't even know where to start. Let me tell you something important. Wherever you are, that's exactly where you need to begin. Don't wait for a perfect moment, because the truth is there's no such thing. The only thing that matters is starting where you are, with what you have right now. You see, we often get caught up in the idea that we need to have everything figured out before we can make progress. But that's just an excuse to stay stuck. So many people wait for everything to be perfect before they take the first step. And by the time they think they're ready, months or years have passed. They miss the one thing that actually matters, the first step. Now I get it. Maybe you don't have all the resources. Maybe you feel like you're not equipped to take on the challenge ahead. Maybe you look at other people and think they've got it all together, and you're just starting from scratch. But here's the thing, everyone starts somewhere. Even the most successful people you admire had to start where they were with what they had, just like you. And they didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They just began. So let's break it down. What is stopping you from taking that first step? Is it fear? Is it doubt? You're not alone in that. Everyone feels that. But guess what? The only way to get past those feelings is to act anyway. There's no shortcut. The fear doesn't disappear when you wait. It only grows bigger. But when you take action, even the smallest action, you show fear that it no longer controls you. You get to decide what happens next, not your doubts or your circumstances. And you don't have to know every step of the journey right now. In fact, you'll never know it all at once. Life doesn't work like that. But what you can do today, right now, is take one small step in the direction you want to go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be the right step. What matters is that you're moving, and movement, even in the smallest form, creates momentum. The more you move, the more you learn, and the more you grow. Think about it. The moment you decide to move forward, even if you're unsure, you're already ahead of the person who is still waiting. Starting where you are is the most powerful thing you can do, because it's a declaration that you're not going to let your circumstances hold you back any longer. You're saying, I'm ready to move, I'm ready to grow, and I'm going to figure it out along the way. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you look at the bigger picture, when you see the mountain ahead of you and think, how am I ever going to reach the top? But guess what? You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You don't need to see the top to know that every step you take is bringing you closer to it. So focus on the next step, not the whole journey. If you get up and take just one step today, that's progress. And that's all you need to do. Make progress. Look, you don't have to have everything figured out, and you don't have to have the perfect plan. It's okay to be unsure. It's okay to not have all the answers. The most important thing is that you start, because when you start, that's when things begin to unfold. When you make that commitment to move forward, even just a little bit, you unlock possibilities you didn't even know existed. You know, I hear a lot of people say things like, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the skills. And I'm not saying those things aren't real challenges. But here's the thing. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. We all have those excuses. I've had them too. But I can tell you this. The only thing that ever kept me from moving forward was me, no one else. When I decided to start with what I had, with where I was, that's when things started to change. Think about where you are right now. Whatever your situation is, whatever challenges you're facing, it doesn't define you. It's just where you are today. It's not the end of your story. It's just the beginning. And it's not about waiting until things get better, because they never will until you take action. Let's talk about something that holds people back. The idea that everything has to be perfect. You think, once I have more money, once I have more experience, once I have more support, then I'll start. But guess what? Perfection doesn't exist. The key to success is in the doing, not in waiting. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start, and perfection will come with practice. Now I want you to think about something. What is the one thing you've been putting off because you think you're not ready? What's the one thing you've been telling yourself? I'll do that later. Whatever it is, I want you to stop making excuses. I want you to promise yourself right now that you will start right where you are. It doesn't matter how big or small the step is. The only thing that matters is that you start. Remember, progress doesn't happen overnight. It's the small, consistent steps that create the change. The key is to stay committed, no matter how hard it gets. When you start, you're telling yourself, I'm not waiting for the perfect moment, I'm creating it. That's the mindset of someone who's committed to change. And that's the mindset that will take you to places you never thought possible. So I challenge you today, start where you are. Take that first step. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And one step at a time, you'll get closer to your dreams. Not by waiting for the right time, but by creating the right time through action. The moment you start is the moment your life begins to change. So don't wait. Don't let fear, doubt, or excuses hold you back. You've got everything you need inside of you to start. Right now, just take the first step, and everything else will follow. Number 2, recognize your power to choose. I want to talk to you about the power you have right now. And I want you to hear me when I say this. You have the power to choose. You might not always feel like you do, especially when life feels like it's throwing everything it's got at you. But trust me, no matter where you're at right now, you always have the power to choose how you respond. The decisions you make today are the ones that shape your tomorrow. And if you can start to understand just how much power you hold in those decisions, your whole life can change. Let me explain it like this. I know it's easy to feel like life is happening to you. Like you're stuck in a situation you can't control. Maybe it's your job, your relationships, your health, or your finances. Whatever it is, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're just reacting to everything that's happening, like you have no choice in the matter. But that's where you're wrong. The truth is, you've always had the power to choose how you respond. You can't always control what happens around you. We all know that. Life is unpredictable, but you can control how you show up in the world. You can choose how you look at a situation. You can choose how you deal with challenges. And when you realize that, it shifts everything. Let's be clear here. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that you can just decide to be happy or positive all the time, and everything will be fine. That's not realistic. But what I am saying is this. When you take ownership of your choices, you take back your power. And when you take back your power, that's when real change can begin. Here's the thing about choices. They're not always big, life-altering decisions. Sometimes they're small choices, made every single day, that accumulate over time. Maybe it's choosing to get up and work out instead of hitting snooze on your alarm. Maybe it's choosing to read a book instead of scrolling through social media. Maybe it's choosing to speak up for yourself when you'd normally stay quiet. These small decisions, made consistently, lead to big results over time. But it all starts with realizing that you have a choice. When you understand that, everything changes. You stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances. You stop feeling like things are happening to you. And instead you start seeing that you have the power to influence what happens next. You start seeing opportunities where before you saw only obstacles. You start making decisions that move you closer to where you want to be, not farther away. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean things won't get tough. But it means that you're no longer at the mercy of life's unpredictability. It means you're in the driver's seat, and you get to decide the direction you're headed. And that's a powerful place to be. Think about it for a second. You might be dealing with things right now that are outside of your control. Things that feel unfair or discouraging. But you have a choice. You can choose how you respond. You can choose whether you let those things defeat you or whether you decide to rise above them. That's the beauty of choice. Even in the hardest moments, you get to decide how you show up. You get to decide whether you're going to fight, keep going and grow from it, or whether you're going to let it break you. The next time you're faced with a tough decision, I want you to pause for a moment. Take a step back and remind yourself that you have the power to choose. Maybe it's a choice to take a different path than the one you've been walking. Maybe it's a choice to forgive someone who hurt you. Maybe it's a choice to believe in yourself when everything around you says you can't. Whatever it is, you get to decide. And that's an incredibly empowering feeling. One of the hardest things in life is realizing that the way you've been thinking or living might not be serving you anymore. It's easy to fall into habits, into ways of thinking that are limiting, that hold you back. But when you realize that you have the power to change, to make different choices, that's when everything can shift. I want you to think about something right now. What are the choices you've been making that have been holding you back? Maybe it's a habit that you know isn't helping you. Maybe it's a mindset that's keeping you stuck. Maybe it's an old belief you've been carrying around that isn't serving you anymore. The good news is, those things don't have to define you. You have the power to choose to let them go. You have the power to choose to believe something new. You have the power to choose your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings. It's easy to feel like you're at the mercy of your circumstances. It's easy to think that your current situation defines who you are, but that's not true. Your circumstances do not define you. How you respond to them does. And when you start taking control of how you respond, you start to see the world in a completely different way. Now, I'm not saying that every choice you make will be the right one. You'll make mistakes along the way, and that's okay. Making mistakes doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're learning. The key is to keep choosing. Keep making decisions that move you forward. And when you mess up, don't dwell on it. Choose again. Choose to learn from it. Choose to get back up and keep moving forward. And here's the thing, every time you make a choice that's in alignment with your goals, your values, and your true self, you become stronger. Every time you choose courage over fear, progress over procrastination, belief over doubt, you build the kind of life you want. It doesn't happen all at once, but over time, those choices add up. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. So today, I want you to make a promise to yourself. I want you to promise that you will no longer sit back and let life happen to you. From this moment on, you're going to take ownership of your choices. You're going to take back your power. And you're going to move forward, step by step, with the knowledge that you have everything it takes to create the life you want. Number 3, accept that struggles are part of growth. I want to talk to you today about something that we all go through, something that can really make or break us: struggles. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go the way we expect. When life hands us challenges we didn't ask for. It's tempting to look at those struggles as setbacks, to feel like they're a sign that we're on the wrong path, that maybe we're not cut out for this. But I want you to hear me when I say this: struggles are not the end. They are part of the process. And without them, you wouldn't grow. I get it. When things get tough, it's hard to see the bigger picture. You might be in the middle of a tough situation right now, and all you can think about is getting through it. You just want the pain to stop. You just want things to get better, but they don't seem to be moving in that direction. It feels like you're stuck. But here's the truth. Struggles are part of growth. Without them, you can't grow. Without them, you wouldn't be able to handle the bigger things that are coming your way in the future. You see, growth doesn't happen when things are easy. Growth happens when you face challenges. When you step up to the plate even though you're scared. When you push yourself, even though every part of you wants to quit. Growth happens when you rise from failure. Because failure isn't something that defines you. It's something that teaches you if you let it. Every time you face a challenge, it's an opportunity to learn something new about yourself. Think about it this way. Think about the things you've already overcome in your life. I'm sure if you sit back and really think about it, you can come up with a list of moments where you faced something difficult. Maybe you were at rock bottom. Maybe you thought you were done. Maybe you thought there was no way out. But you're still here. You made it through those moments. And I'm willing to bet that looking back, you've grown stronger because of them. You didn't shrink. You didn't give up. You fought through. And I know that if you can get through those moments, you can get through the ones ahead of you. Life's gonna throw challenges at you. Big ones, small ones, and everything in between. And while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. I want you to understand something. When you face a struggle, it's easy to feel like the world is against you, like the weight of everything is too much to carry. But the reality is that those challenges are teaching you how to handle what's next. They are preparing you for the next level of your life. They're toughening you up, building your resilience, and getting you ready for bigger opportunities. Without struggle, you wouldn't have the strength you need to rise to the occasion when the bigger challenges come. Now, I'm not saying that you should just brush off your struggles or pretend they're not hard. I know how it feels to be stuck, to feel like you're not getting anywhere, to feel like you're failing. But I want you to understand that the struggle is not the end. It's not the final chapter of your story. It's a part of your story. And in that story, you have the power to rise. I want you to ask yourself, what is this struggle teaching me? Sometimes the lesson is hard to see right away, but I promise you there is always something to learn. Whether it's learning how to be patient with yourself, learning how to ask for help, or learning how to trust that you have what it takes. These lessons are what are going to carry you forward. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. It's easy to throw in the towel and walk away when you feel like you've tried everything. But let me tell you something. You are stronger than you realize. You've been through tough times before, and you made it out. You've been knocked down, but you got back up, and you'll do it again. You just have to trust in your ability to keep going. Sometimes when we're in the middle of a struggle, it feels like we're never going to get out. We feel like we're trapped, stuck in a never-ending cycle of disappointment and frustration. But you need to understand this. Every struggle has an expiration date. Nothing lasts forever. The pain, the frustration, the struggle, it will pass. And when it does, you'll come out of it stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. The key is not to let that struggle define you. Don't let it tell you who you are or what you're capable of. It's just a moment in time. It's just one chapter of your life. And when you look back on it, you'll see it for what it really is. A stepping stone. A moment that helped shape you into the person you were always meant to become. So what do you do in the middle of a struggle? You keep going. You don't quit. You don't give up. You put one foot in front of the other, even when it feels hard. And you trust that, little by little, things will get better. You trust that, eventually the struggle will be behind you, and you'll be stronger because of it. You trust that you can handle anything that comes your way, because you've faced challenges before, and you're still standing. There's something powerful that happens when you embrace the struggle, instead of running from it. When you stop resisting what's happening, and allow yourself to move through it, that's when you unlock your true strength. And when you come out the other side, you'll look back and realize that the struggle didn't break you, it made you. So if you're in the middle of a struggle right now, I want you to remember this. You are capable, you are strong, and you will get through this. The struggle is part of the journey. It's part of your growth, and you are more than equipped to handle it. Keep pushing forward, keep showing up, and never forget that your struggles are not the end. They are the foundation for your next great chapter. Keep fighting, keep moving. You've got this. Number 4, reframe setbacks as lesson. I know right now you may feel like you're standing in the middle of a setback, and it's hard to see beyond it. It feels like everything you've worked for is crumbling, or like the road you're on has come to a dead end. Maybe you feel like you've hit a wall and can't find a way over or around it. But let me tell you something important. Setbacks are not the end. They are lessons waiting to be learned. And if you look at them that way, they can transform your life. Think about it for a second. Every successful person you admire, every person who's overcome great challenges, they've all experienced setbacks. The difference between them and someone who gives up is how they chose to see those moments. When something doesn't go your way, it's easy to throw your hands up and quit. But the moment you reframe that setback as a lesson, as an opportunity to grow, you open up a whole new world of possibilities. I know it's easier said than done. When you're in the thick of it, when things are falling apart, it feels like there's no way out. You can't see how this is ever going to turn around. But here's the truth. What you do with that setback, how you respond to it, is what matters most. Every time something doesn't go as planned, you're faced with a choice. You can either accept it as a defeat, or you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Look, I've been there. I've faced setbacks that made me question everything. I've had days where I felt like I was giving my all, and yet nothing seemed to work. But I want you to hear this. Your setbacks don't define you. They don't determine your future. They're just temporary roadblocks on your path to success. What matters is how you respond to them. When things don't go your way, it can be helpful to step back for a moment and look at the situation from a different angle. Instead of focusing on the fact that things didn't go according to plan, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you how to pivot, how to adjust. Or maybe it's teaching you that the path you're on needs some fine-tuning. Whatever it is, There's always something to learn. I want you to think about a time in your life when something didn't go as you expected, and yet, somehow you came out of it stronger. It might have been a job loss, a failed relationship, or even a personal failure. Whatever it was, that experience helped shape you. It made you more resilient, more resourceful, and maybe even more compassionate. You learned something from it. You grew. And if you can look at every setback in your life that way, like a lesson waiting to be discovered, you'll see the world of difference it can make. You see, failure and setbacks don't mean you're not cut out for this. They don't mean you should quit. In fact, they are often a sign that you're on the right path. If you're not facing challenges, if you're not being tested, you might not be stretching yourself enough. Think about it. If you want to get stronger, you have to push your muscles to their limit. The same goes for your mind, your heart, your spirit. You have to push yourself to the limit to grow. And sometimes that's going to feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Growth is always uncomfortable. Think about it. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you push through the tough stuff. And when you reframe setbacks as opportunities to learn, you take the power back. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance. And instead, you start seeing yourself as someone who can turn anything around. Let's take a moment to look at some of the most successful people in the world. Do you think they got to where they are by avoiding setbacks? Absolutely not. They faced failure after failure, setback after setback. But the difference is they didn't let those setbacks stop them. They didn't let them define their future. They took the lessons from each failure, each setback, and they used that knowledge to move forward. When you face a setback, I want you to remind yourself that it's not permanent. It's just a bump in the road, a detour, not the end of your journey. And in that setback, there's always a lesson. It might not be obvious at first, but it's there. So ask yourself, what's the lesson here? What can I learn? What do I need to change? Sometimes the setback might be as simple as needing to work harder, to adjust your approach. Other times it might be about taking a step back and reassessing your goals or your priorities. But whatever the lesson is, it's there. You just have to be willing to see it. I know it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that a setback means you've failed. But let me tell you, failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. As long as you get up, as long as you keep moving forward, you haven't failed. Every time you face a setback and choose to get back up, you're winning. You're winning because you're learning. You're winning because you're growing. You're winning because you didn't let it break you. One of the most powerful things you can do in life is learn how to see setbacks for what they really are. Lessons in disguise. And once you start doing that, you'll see that nothing can stand in your way. There will be no challenge, no setback that can stop you, because you'll know that there's always a way forward. You'll know that no matter what happens, you'll keep moving, you'll keep learning, and you'll keep growing. So the next time you face a setback, I want you to take a deep breath, look at the situation, and say, what can I learn from this? I want you to remind yourself that setbacks are not the end. They're just the beginning of your next lesson, your next step toward success. The key is to keep moving forward, keep learning, keep growing. And always, always remember, your setbacks are not failures. They're the fuel you need to get to where you're going. Number 5, focus on small wins to build momentum. Momentum. It's the force that drives progress, the spark that ignites action, and the key to unlocking the life you want. If you've ever felt like things just aren't moving forward, or you've found yourself stuck in the same place, then you've probably experienced what it feels like to be lacking momentum. And I get it. It's frustrating. You put in the work, you try your best, and yet you can't seem to get anything off the ground. But here's the thing. You don't need a huge leap to get started. What you need is small wins. See, the idea that you have to do something massive to make progress is a myth. The truth is, the smallest of victories can build up over time. And those small wins are the key to building momentum. You don't need to look at the mountain ahead and feel overwhelmed by its size. Instead, you just need to focus on the first step. And once you take that step, you'll find that the next one is easier, and the one after that is even easier, until suddenly you're moving faster than you ever thought possible. Think about it. When you're trying to accomplish something big, the task ahead can seem so overwhelming. Whether it's a personal goal, a business project, or even something as simple as getting back on track with your health, the mountain always seems higher than it really is. But that's the thing, if you let the size of the goal overwhelm you, it can paralyze you. But if you focus on one small victory at a time, you'll start to feel the momentum build. It's like when you're trying to build a habit. Maybe you want to exercise every day, but the idea of a full workout feels exhausting before you even start. But what if you just focus on the first 10 minutes? What if instead of thinking you need to commit to an hour, you simply commit to getting started, even if it's just for 10 minutes? You'll quickly find that after those 10 minutes, you might feel energized to go longer. And if not, no problem. You still made progress. You still took a step forward. This is how momentum works. You don't need to focus on the entire mountain. Just focus on the next step. You don't need to wait until you feel completely ready to make progress. You just need to start. Every little win you achieve, no matter how small, gives you the fuel to keep going. And before long, you'll have built up so much momentum that you'll look back and wonder how you ever thought it was impossible. Now, this doesn't mean that you won't face challenges along the way. You will. But the beauty of momentum is that it helps you push through those challenges. When you start to gain momentum, you feel more confident, more capable, and more determined. Each small win adds to your belief in yourself, and that belief is what will carry you through when things get tough. Think about a time when you finally took that first step toward a goal. Maybe it was a time when you made the decision to get serious about your finances, or maybe it was when you decided to start a new project, or even begin a new habit. That first step is always the hardest. It's the moment when you feel uncertain, when you're not sure if it's going to work out. But once you take that step, once you make progress, even just a little bit, that momentum starts to build. And the more you move forward, the easier it gets. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it's small, but as it picks up speed, it becomes unstoppable. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that you have to make big changes or take huge leaps to see progress. But that's not how life works. Life is made up of small moments, small decisions, and small actions. When you take those small steps consistently, that's when you see results. And I'm telling you right now, the key to your success lies in those small wins. They may seem insignificant at first, but they add up over time, and eventually you'll find that you've created something much bigger than you ever imagined. So if you're feeling stuck right now, if you're feeling like you're not getting anywhere, I want you to take a moment and think about what small win you can focus on today. Maybe it's something as simple as getting out of bed a little earlier, making a healthier choice, or taking the first step toward a goal you've been putting off. The beauty is, you don't need to change everything in one go. You don't need to have all the answers, or be perfect. You just need to take that first step and let the momentum carry you from there. You see, the most successful people didn't get where they are by taking giant leaps every single day. They got there by taking consistent, small steps. And if they can do it, so can you. You just need to start with one small win at a time. Think about how you feel when you've accomplished something. Even if it's just a small thing, it's empowering, right? It's energizing. And that feeling, that sense of accomplishment, fuels your next action. That's the power of momentum. It's a cycle that feeds itself. The more small wins you have, the more motivated you become. And the more motivated you are, the more wins you'll create. So I want you to stop looking at the big picture for a moment and focus on what you can do today. Don't let the size of the task paralyze you. Focus on what you can do right now, this very minute. And I promise you, once you start seeing progress, however small, you'll feel a shift. You'll feel your energy change. You'll feel more capable, more confident, and more driven than you did before. It's all about starting, no matter how small. Every step forward, no matter how tiny, is a step in the right direction. And every time you take that step, you're building momentum. So get out there, focus on your small wins, and watch how the momentum builds. Because once you get started, there's no stopping you. Number 6, use your purpose as fuel. I want to talk to you about something really powerful today. Something that can fuel everything you do and get you through even the toughest times. It's something that can make all the difference when life feels hard and you're ready to throw in the towel. And that something is purpose. Purpose is that deep, burning drive that gives you direction when you feel lost, that gives you energy when you feel exhausted, and that gives you hope when things seem impossible. When you have a clear sense of purpose, everything changes. Now you might be sitting there thinking, I don't know what my purpose is, or maybe you've been questioning it for a while. It's not uncommon. A lot of people feel that way. It's easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing, or by the pressures of life, and forget what you're really here for. But the truth is, your purpose is already within you. It's always been there. You just have to tap into it. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when you felt truly driven. Maybe it was a project you cared deeply about, a cause you believed in, or something you wanted to achieve that was meaningful to you. In those moments, didn't it feel like nothing could stop you? Even when the obstacles seemed big, or the challenges were overwhelming, you kept going because you were tied to something that mattered. That's what purpose does. It keeps you moving when you don't feel like it. and it helps you push through even when the going gets tough. So how do you find that purpose? It's not always easy, and it doesn't always come in a big moment of clarity. Sometimes it's about paying attention to the things that light you up, the things that make you feel alive, excited and motivated. Sometimes it's about looking at the skills you have, the talents you were born with, and how you can use them to make a difference in the world. Purpose doesn't have to be this big, grand thing that changes the world overnight. It can be as simple as wanting to make a positive impact on the people around you, or as specific as building a business that reflects your values. The point is, purpose is not something you have to search for outside of yourself. It's already there, waiting to be uncovered. And once you identify what matters most to you, you'll find that your entire perspective shifts. You'll start to make decisions that align with your purpose, and your actions will have meaning behind them. You'll start waking up every day with a sense of direction and intention, because you'll know what you're working toward. But here's the thing, life can get in the way. You'll face setbacks. You'll face failures. You'll face people who tell you it's not possible, that you shouldn't even bother. But when you're connected to your purpose, those setbacks don't have the same power over you. They don't discourage you the way they might have before. You start to see them as part of the process, as learning opportunities. Your purpose gives you the strength to keep going, even when the road gets tough. Think about a time when you faced difficulty or a challenge. When you didn't have a strong sense of purpose, did you give up more easily? Did you doubt yourself more? I'm sure you did. Because when you don't have purpose, you don't have a reason to keep going when things get hard. But when you have a clear purpose, it becomes your anchor. It reminds you that even though things aren't perfect right now, they will get better. It reminds you that every challenge is a step closer to where you're meant to be. Purpose also has a way of pulling you out of the routine and into something more fulfilling. It pulls you out of the just getting by mindset and into a this is why I'm here mindset. When you know why you're doing something, you do it with more passion, you do it with more focus, and you do it with more energy. That's the power of purpose. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns the mundane into something meaningful. And once you have that sense of purpose, you'll find that the obstacles in your life don't seem quite as intimidating. But here's the kicker. Sometimes your purpose will evolve. It won't always stay the same. And that's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out today. It's okay to change your direction as you grow and learn. What matters is that you're always moving towards something that gives you meaning. If you feel like you don't know what your purpose is yet, that's perfectly fine. But I encourage you to start looking. Start asking yourself, what do I care about? What do I want to contribute to this world? What makes me feel alive? The answers might surprise you. And remember, your purpose doesn't have to be world-changing in the way that we often imagine. It doesn't have to be about building an empire or having millions of followers. It can be about being the best version of yourself, making an impact on the people around you, or creating something small but meaningful. It's about living with intention, about knowing why you do what you do, and about waking up every day with a sense of purpose. When you live with purpose, everything else falls into place. You'll find the strength to keep going when things get tough. You'll find the clarity to make decisions that align with who you truly are. And you'll find the joy that comes from doing something that matters. So if you're feeling lost or uncertain right now, just remember this, your purpose is within you. You don't have to search for it far and wide. It's there, and when you tap into it, it will guide you to places you never imagined. And when you feel like you're running low on energy, when you feel like you can't take another step, just reconnect with your purpose. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you why you started in the first place. Because when you've got purpose on your side, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. Number 7, believe in your inner strength. There's something powerful within you, something that's been there all along, and that's your inner strength. I'm not talking about strength in the sense of lifting heavy weights or running a marathon. I'm talking about the deep, unshakable power that resides in you, the ability to keep going when everything else tells you to stop, the resilience to face challenges head-on and learn from them, and the strength to stay true to who you are, no matter how tough life gets. Your inner strength is the force that pushes you forward, that helps you get back up when you fall down, and that allows you to keep fighting, even when it feels like the world is against you. It's easy to forget how strong you are, especially when things aren't going your way. When life knocks you down, it can feel like you're never going to get back up. You might look around and see others who seem to have it all together, and it can make you doubt yourself. But here's the truth. Your strength is just as real as anyone else's, and it's there for you to tap into whenever you need it. You might not always see it in the moment, but it's within you, waiting to be called upon. Think about the times when you faced challenges in your life. Maybe it was a personal setback, a tough decision, or a time when you felt like everything was falling apart. Did you give up, or did you find a way to keep going? The fact that you're here today tells me that you kept going. You didn't quit. And that's because deep down, you have a well of strength that's always available to you. It's the kind of strength that doesn't always show up in dramatic moments, but it's there, quietly pushing you forward, giving you the courage to keep fighting. Your inner strength isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about perseverance. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the hard days, the days when you feel like you can't go any further, and finding a way to move just a little bit closer to your goals. Inner strength is the quiet confidence that tells you, I've been through hard times before and I'll get through this too. It's the belief that no matter how many obstacles you face, you have the capacity to overcome them. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you're not strong enough, or that you're not capable of handling what life throws at you. But that kind of thinking only holds you back. You are stronger than you think, and you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. When you feel weak or overwhelmed, that's when your inner strength is calling you to rise above. It's calling you to dig deeper, to push past the doubt, and to believe in yourself, even when it feels like the world is trying to tear you down. One of the keys to unlocking your inner strength is to stop doubting yourself. We all have a tendency to question our abilities, especially when we face something difficult. It's natural to wonder if we're up to the task, to wonder if we're strong enough. But that doubt is a lie. It's a lie that says you can't handle it. The truth is, you are stronger than you realize. And the more you believe in your ability to handle challenges, the more you'll see your strength in action. The way you talk to yourself matters. The way you speak about your challenges, about your journey, about your future. It all shapes your reality. If you keep telling yourself you're not strong enough, that you can't make it, then you'll start to believe it. But if you tell yourself that you've got this, that you are strong, that you can overcome anything life throws your way, you'll start to see yourself rise to the occasion. Your words have power, and when you speak strength into your life, you'll start to feel it and live it. It's also important to remember that inner strength doesn't mean you have to do everything on your own. It doesn't mean you have to be a lone wolf, handling every challenge without help. Sometimes true strength is recognizing when you need support, when you need to lean on others. Your inner strength is about knowing when to ask for help, and trusting that you don't have to carry the weight of the world alone. Whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a family member, having the strength to ask for support can make all the difference. Another thing to understand is that inner strength grows through experience. The more you face and overcome, the stronger you become. You might not always feel strong in the moment, but when you look back at the obstacles you've already overcome, you'll realize just how resilient you are. Strength doesn't always look the way we think it should. It's not always loud or flashy. It's sometimes quiet and steady. It's the strength that says, I won't give up, even when I don't know how I'm going to get through this. When you're facing a tough time, it's easy to focus on how hard things are, but try to shift your focus for a moment. Look at how far you've come. Look at the challenges you've already overcome. Remember that you've been through hard times before and come out stronger on the other side. That's a reminder of your inner strength. Every time you've faced difficulty, you've proven to yourself that you can handle it. And now, in the midst of this challenge, you have the opportunity to prove it again. I want you to understand that your inner strength isn't something you need to wait for. You don't need to wait for a big event or a moment of clarity to realize how strong you are. It's already there, inside you, ready to be tapped into at any moment. You don't have to look outside yourself for strength. You have everything you need right now. And when you start to recognize that, when you start to tap into that strength, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. So the next time life gets tough and you feel like you can't keep going, I want you to remember this. You are stronger than you think. You have everything you need within you to overcome whatever you're facing. Your strength is a part of who you are. It's not something you have to work for. It's already yours. Trust in it, believe in it, and know that no matter what happens, you have the power to keep going and keep fighting. Number 8, surround yourself with supportive people. The people you surround yourself with play a bigger role in your success and happiness than you might realize. It's easy to overlook how much of an impact your environment has on your mindset, your energy, and the choices you make. Think about the people in your life right now. Are they supporting you? Are they lifting you up, encouraging you, and helping you grow? Or are they pulling you down, filling your mind with doubt, and holding you back from reaching your full potential? The people you choose to spend time with can either be the fuel that drives you forward or the chains that keep you stuck. You see, success is not a solo journey. Sure, there are moments when you have to put in the hard work by yourself, but you don't have to go it alone. Having the right people around you can make all the difference in the world. These are the people who believe in you when you doubt yourself, who remind you of your worth when you forget, and who push you to be better, even when it feels uncomfortable. You can't underestimate the power of positive, supportive relationships in your life. When you're in a challenging moment, having someone by your side who believes in you can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. A good friend, a mentor, or even a family member who understands you and genuinely wants to see you succeed can be a source of incredible strength. These people can offer advice, share their experiences, and provide you with the encouragement you need to keep going. Their belief in you can often ignite a belief in yourself that you might not even know is there. The support of others is not just comforting, it's essential. Think about the conversations you have with the people closest to you. Are they focused on how hard life is, how much it's not working out, or are they filled with optimism, hope, and strategies for overcoming challenges? The kind of conversations you have with the people around you shapes your mindset. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity or pessimism, it can be incredibly draining. It can start to seep into your own thoughts and affect your outlook on life. On the other hand, when you're surrounded by people who are optimistic, who have a growth mindset, who see challenges as opportunities for growth, it lifts you up. It energizes you. And that energy, that positive influence, makes all the difference. But I'm not just talking about the people who cheer you on. I'm also talking about the people who challenge you, who hold you accountable, and who don't let you settle for less than your best. We all need people in our lives who push us to grow, who make us question our limits, and who encourage us to step out of our comfort zones. It's easy to stay where it's comfortable, to hang around people who tell you everything is fine even when it's not. But true growth happens when you're around people who are committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. These people won't let you stay stuck in old habits, and they won't accept mediocrity from you. They will challenge you, not because they want to see you fail, but because they believe in your potential, and they want to see you reach it. The truth is, the people you choose to spend your time with have a huge impact on your mindset and your results. If you want to grow, if you want to push through obstacles and keep fighting, you have to surround yourself with people who support that journey. It's not about finding people who are exactly like you, but rather people who are on the same wavelength when it comes to growth, ambition, and perseverance. People who are committed to becoming better, and who will encourage you to do the same. There will be times when you have to make tough decisions about who you allow in your inner circle. Sometimes, the people you love the most aren't the ones who are best for you. It's a hard truth, but it's one that you need to face if you want to move forward. I'm not saying you need to cut ties with people who care about you. What I'm saying is that you need to be mindful of the energy they bring into your life. If someone is constantly dragging you down with negativity, doubt, or criticism, you need to set boundaries. You don't have to allow that energy into your life. You have the power to protect your peace and your mindset. And in some cases, that means distancing yourself from people who aren't helping you grow. On the flip side, when you find people who inspire you, who encourage you to be better, and who help you see the possibilities instead of the limitations, hold on to them. These people are your tribe. They are the ones who will help you reach new heights, who will cheer you on when you feel like quitting, and who will challenge you to go further than you ever thought possible. Don't take them for granted. Invest in those relationships, nurture them, and surround yourself with these kinds of people as much as possible. Now, it's also important to recognize that you have the ability to be that kind of person for others. It's not just about seeking support from others. It's also about being a source of support for the people in your life. You can be the person who encourages, who believes, who challenges, and who lifts others up. By giving that kind of energy to others, you'll also receive it back in return. Positive energy attracts positive energy. When you pour into others, you not only help them grow, but you grow too. The relationships you build and the support systems you create will be one of the most important factors in your ability to keep fighting, to keep pushing through, and to keep moving forward. Success in all its forms is rarely achieved in isolation. It's a journey that's made easier, more enjoyable, and more fulfilling when you have people by your side who are rooting for you, challenging you, and lifting you up. Surround yourself with people who believe in your potential, who support your growth, and who challenge you to be the best version of yourself. When you do that, you'll realize just how powerful the right people can be in helping you achieve your dreams. Number 9, focus on progress, not perfection. When you're on the journey to success, it's easy to get fixated on perfection. We live in a world where we're constantly told that the ideal is what we should be striving for. The perfect job, the perfect body, the perfect relationship, the perfect life. But let me tell you something, perfection is a trap. It's an illusion that will only hold you back. Because in reality, there is no such thing as perfect. There is only progress. The moment you stop chasing perfection and start focusing on progress is when everything changes. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. What you need to do is keep moving forward, even if it's one small step at a time. The key is to make progress every single day. You'll learn more from those small, consistent actions than from waiting for the perfect moment. There's no such thing as a perfect time to start. No perfect conditions. It's about making the most of the time and resources you have right now. The pressure to be perfect can paralyze you. You look at other people's successes, and you think, how am I ever going to be like that? You compare yourself to someone else who seems to have it all together, and it makes you feel like you're not good enough. But the truth is, you're already enough. Perfectionism isn't the standard you should measure yourself by. It's progress that matters. Every day you get up and keep fighting. No matter how big or small the effort, that's progress. And that's what leads to real, lasting success. When you focus on progress, you stop worrying about the small setbacks. You stop beating yourself up over the mistakes, because you begin to understand that these setbacks are not failures. They're just part of the process. They're the lessons you need to learn, the experiences that shape you into the person you need to be, to achieve what you want. Every time you fall, you're getting one step closer to your goal because you're learning what doesn't work, which is just as valuable as learning what does. When you let go of the need for perfection, you give yourself the freedom to experiment, to fail, and to try again. And that's when growth really happens. It's in the trying, the effort, the learning, and the adapting. It's in the consistent work you put in every single day. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making the most of the moment you have. Every small win you achieve, no matter how insignificant it might seem at the time, adds up over time to something much bigger than you could have imagined. Let me give you an example. Think about learning to ride a bike. When you first started, you probably fell a few times. You probably wobbled and made mistakes. But did you stop trying because you couldn't do it perfectly on the first try? Of course not. You kept going, you kept getting back on the bike, and eventually you figured it out. You didn't need to be perfect to learn how to ride. You just needed to keep going. The same thing applies to every part of your life. You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to keep moving forward, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect. Progress is a mindset shift. It's about focusing on what you've learned, what you've accomplished, and what you're going to do next. It's about looking back and saying, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm a lot further along than I was yesterday. And that's what matters. The more you focus on progress, the less you'll get caught up in the comparison game. You'll stop looking at other people's lives and feeling like you're behind. You'll realize that everyone's journey is different, and your progress is just as valid as anyone else's. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who are perfect. They're the ones who kept going despite their mistakes, their setbacks, and their imperfections. They kept learning, adapting, and improving. And that's what made all the difference. Progress, not perfection, is what leads to lasting success. So stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop holding yourself back because you're not where you want to be yet. Start focusing on the progress you're making. No matter how small it might seem, every step forward counts. Every bit of effort you put in is moving you closer to your goal. And here's the thing, progress doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it helps you grow as a person. The person you are today is not the person you were yesterday. And the person you'll be tomorrow will be even stronger, wiser, and more capable than the person you are today. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. It's not about reaching perfection. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. When you start focusing on progress, you start to see the world in a different way. You start to appreciate the little wins, the small victories, the incremental improvements. You stop looking at the finish line as the only measure of success, and instead you start enjoying the journey. You realize that the process of growth, the daily grind of improvement, is just as important as the end result. And when you start to enjoy the journey, when you start celebrating the progress, that's when things really start to click. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to be perfect. But let me tell you this, there's no such thing. Perfection is a moving target. It's something that's always just out of reach. And if you spend all your time chasing it, you'll never feel like you've arrived. But when you focus on progress, you're always moving forward. You're always growing. And that's the key to success, the key to fulfillment, the key to living a life you can be proud of. So remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep taking action, no matter how small, you are making progress. And that's all that matters. Every day, take one small step forward, and eventually you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. And that's when you'll know you've been on the right path all along. Number 10, commit to never giving up. The decision to keep fighting, to never give up, is often the difference between those who succeed and those who quit. We all face challenges in life. Some days it feels like everything is against us. It's like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, and every step forward feels like an uphill battle. But I want you to remember something very important. The people who make it through, the ones who come out stronger, are the ones who choose to keep going when everything inside of them says to give up. I know what it feels like to want to quit. It's that voice in your head that tells you you've tried everything. This is too much. It's not worth it. It's easy to listen to that voice. It's easy to let the fear and the doubt take over. But I can tell you this, that voice is lying to you. That voice wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you stuck. The truth is, the moment you decide to keep fighting, the moment you decide that no matter how hard it gets, you're going to keep going, that's when you start to win. It's not about how many times you fall. It's not about how many setbacks you face. What matters is how many times you get back up. Every time you get back up, you're building resilience. You're learning. You're growing. You're becoming stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you're proving to yourself that you have what it takes. You're reminding yourself that you are capable of more than you think. The hardest part is always the beginning. That's when everything feels uncertain, when the path ahead seems unclear, and when you're not sure if you're going to make it. But here's the thing, the beginning is always the hardest. Once you start taking those first steps, once you start pushing through the doubt and the fear, you start to build momentum. Things get easier. Your confidence grows. You begin to see progress. But you can't get there if you give up too soon. There are going to be days when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. You'll wonder if all the effort is worth it, and you'll feel like nothing is changing. But trust me, it is. The work you're doing, the effort you're putting in, it's all building something inside of you. It's strengthening your character. It's teaching you lessons you can't learn any other way. And most importantly, it's preparing you for the success that's coming. I want to remind you of something. Success isn't a straight line. It's not a smooth, easy path that you walk down. It's full of twists and turns, bumps and obstacles. But that's okay. The road to success is meant to be difficult. It's meant to challenge you. And the only way to get through it is to make the choice to keep going. It's easy to look at other people's successes and think they have it easy. You look at someone who's where you want to be, and you think they must have had it figured out from the start. But I promise you, every successful person has had their fair share of struggles, their fair share of moments when they wanted to quit. What sets them apart is that they didn't. They kept fighting. They kept moving forward, even when it didn't feel easy, even when they didn't know how they would make it through. And that's why they succeeded. You need to understand that success doesn't happen overnight. It's built, piece by piece, day by day. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's about choosing to keep going, no matter how many times you fall, because every time you fall, you're getting one step closer to where you want to be. It's easy to let fear stop you. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. But fear only has power over you if you let it. The truth is, fear is just a signal that you're on the right path. It means you're stretching yourself, growing, pushing past your comfort zone. And that's when real change happens. When you keep fighting in the face of fear, that's when you become unstoppable. Remember this, it's not about having all the answers. It's not about knowing exactly what's going to happen. What matters is that you're willing to keep going, even when things are uncertain. What matters is that you're willing to show up every day, to put in the work, to keep fighting for the life you want. And I want you to know something. It's never too late. No matter where you are right now, no matter how far you feel from your goals, it's never too late to turn things around. It's never too late to choose to keep fighting. You've got what it takes. The strength, the courage, the perseverance. It's all inside of you. All you have to do is tap into it and keep pushing forward. And the more you push, the more you'll realize just how capable you are. You'll begin to see that there's nothing you can't overcome. So here's my challenge to you. Make the decision right now. No matter how tough it gets, no matter how many setbacks you face, you're not going to quit. You're going to keep fighting. You're going to keep showing up. And you're going to keep taking action. And one day you'll look back and realize that the moment you decided to never give up was the moment everything started to change. It's all in your hands. The choice is yours. And I believe in you. Keep fighting, and you'll find your way to the success and the life you deserve.